so it says that I'm live on Facebook, so I'm just gonna let it load for a second. Let's see what's going on here. If you are watching, do leave a comment. Let me know that you are here. If you're watching the replay, hashtag replay. So as with any lesson, as we go through, leave your comments with what's resonating, what you're seeing for yourself, questions you have as they come up. I'm going to talk a little bit about spending behaviors today. So let me just load this up. Come on, what's going on here? There we go. Okay. Open this. Hopefully this loads. Okay, there we go. Okay, can you hear me? We're good? Okay. Okay, so the thing I want to talk to you guys today is really about how we spend our resources, okay, and the nature of which we spend our resources. Because what I'm seeing is that as we're going through this work, you're also going to notice where you're like, oh, I'm not so rigid around my money anymore, or I'm much more willing to spend my money, which is great because I don't want you to be rigid and I don't want you to be like tight and constricted around your money. I want you to have some flow to it. However, if you're not in reverence, it means that you have nothing to hold it with. Okay, it still means that you're not holding money. It still means that you're not holding your time. It still means that you're not holding your power. It means that you're letting it leak all over the place, right? So this is what it looks like when you're overspending, when you're paying bills just to get rid of them, when you're not taking conscious pauses before you expend anything, to make sure that that expenditure actually aligns with what's true for you. So the thing I want to talk about today and teach you about is curative purchasing, okay? So curative means that there's something wrong and you need to purchase XYZ to fix it. So curative purchase, for me, something that came up in the last couple weeks was around my health. So I used to be super rigid and tight around spending money on my health, as in I never did. So this idea of seeing a naturopath was never going to happen. The idea of seeing someone outside of the Canadian medical system was never going to happen. Buying supplements, buying digestive aids, none of that would happen. And then I started to release the tension and compression that I had around spending money as it related to my health. Then what happened is I dropped a lot of money to fix my health. Okay. Now, what happens is you end up buying something. So in my case, I bought a bunch of supplements, dietary supplements, to help me take better control of my health. Now, here's the thing. That was a curative purchase because it didn't actually change the behavior which set my health off in the first place. It didn't change my commitment to my health. It didn't change how I show up for my health. It didn't change my devotion to my health. It was a curative purchase, as in I believed that if I bought this thing, this external thing, that all of a sudden I would feel better. That all of a sudden I would start being more devoted, that all of a sudden I'd start going to the gym and I'd start taking care of myself. But that's not the reality. Okay. Now, when we take a curative purchase, what happens is that it's a form of outsourcing. It's a form of saying, if I go do this external thing and I bring it, that it's going to change my internal compass. It never does. And I'm not here to like poo-poo on your party. I'm just telling you, in reality, it's not going to work. It is a form of outsourcing your power, which is your devotion, your resonance, your reverence for your life force energy. It's outsourcing it and saying, oh, well, this external thing is going to determine how I show up in my life. That if I just use my money, my resource, that all of a sudden I'm going to create more physical energy in my body because I've used my money. And then all of a sudden I'm going to start allocating time to taking these supplements. And that's just not true. It's just not true. So when we do a curative response, which means we seek an external thing to influence our internal, what it does is a couple different things. On the first level, it actually dismisses your current reality, right? So it says that, oh, what you're experiencing is wrong. Let's go find something to fix it. So that's issue number one. On the next level, what it does is it bypasses your actual participation in your reality. It tells you that if you don't have this external thing, that your reality is going to continue this way, right? Like if I don't have these supplements, then I'm going to continue to be unhealthy. It's just not true. Because if I'm connected to my power, my energy, my life force, that resource in itself will propel me to behave in a way that doesn't have my health leak. Right? Because if I'm in reverence to my life, that means I get up in the morning, I have my green tea, I do my stretches, I take care of myself. But if I'm not in reverence to my life, I don't. Okay, so I always want to come back to this very key thing. Am I in reverence to my life? Curative expenditures are not ever in reverence to your life because they dismiss your current reality and they dismiss your actual participation in your reality. Okay? The other thing that it's really important that I address with you guys is that curative expenses. So, oh, if I just spend some time having a conversation with this person, then this relationship with this person is going to be better. If I spend money on this product, then my behavior is going to change. If I exert a lot of energy, then all of a sudden my weight's going to change. It actually dismisses the truth because it's an if this, then this situation. If I do X, then Y will happen. Instead of the actual internal orientation of it being, if I commit, or am I committed, right? So even like the if I'm committed, it's still not you being committed. It's a future tense versus I am committed to my health. And it's just a declaration. And the moment you declare it, there's a whole nother version of you that has to show up in life. This week, I made a commitment that I was going to move my body every day, didn't matter what it looked like. And so what happened was that my body was super tense and sore. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do restorative yoga every day. And I have, and I've done it every single day. And then some days I've attempted to chop some wood. I was no good at it. So I went back to restorative yoga. These were places where I just made the commitment. It's not like if I do yoga, I will be more flexible. It's no, I'm committed. I am committed in the present tense, in the embodiment of it. I am committed to moving every day. So therefore I do. Okay, so I want to separate you guys from this idea of like, if I do this, then this will happen, because that is a mental overload. It is the brain determining what's going to happen, not the reality of the present moment or the truth. I'm going to dive further into the truth here in a minute, but I know I've said this to you guys before, but I want to come back to the difference between the mind and the body. Okay, the mind can only ever be in the past or the future. Okay, it can remember, it can reminisce, it can hypothesize, it can goalify. But one thing our brains really struggle to do is actually be in the present moment, right? That's why meditation exists. That's why all these people have so much struggle being in the present. But what doesn't struggle to be in the present is the body. It can't be in the past. It can't be in the future. Even in astral projection, your physical body is here. So if you are in your physical body, you are in this moment, in this lifetime, on this plane, thus this reality. And you can drop into what's actually in reverence to your life instead of a if situation, right? Which is future tense in the mind. Now, to go back to like your curative purchases that happen, sometimes those curative purchases might feel embodied. Like, you know, right now I really want to buy, I don't really know. I don't have anything that I really want to buy egoically, but a latte, right? I have no consciousness to this latte, but I'm like, oh, I really want a latte. But I don't take the moment to pause to ensure that I'm in my body, that I'm sure that what I'm sensing is in fact that the latte is the most reverent purchase. Okay. Now, when I get into my body and I sit with that, being like, is this the most reverent purchase? What I can actually tell is that it's an avoidance. It's a way for me to escape my day. It's a way for me to leak my money onto something that is going to have me pull away from my table. It's going to have me pull away from my life. The excess of caffeine is going to jolt my system instead of being with the present moment of me really just needing to take a walk. I don't need the latte. I just need to go for a walk. But what I'll do if I'm curative, because I don't like my physical state or my physical sensation or my emotional state or my emotional sensations, I will do a curative thing and attempt to fix my reality if I don't have approval for it. So when you are out in the world and you're about to spend your money, before you drop that request to purchase, before you drop your cash, before you drop your money, the question to yourself is this reverent? And if your response, if you turn and say, well, when I have this, I'll feel X, then you know that it's curative. And curative means an avoidance. Okay. Or almost a dismissal of reality, right? Because if I go for coffee and I go, oh, this is a reverent choice because if I have coffee, then I will feel energized, which means that I'm making the level of energy I have wrong, that I need more energy. When we know for a fact that the energy we have is always perfect for the task at hand. The energy we have is always perfect for the most truest thing. Right? So already there's a place where I will abandon the reverent thing in my life because I'm not okay with it. This is an abuse of your resources. This is what happens when we begin to have hoarding behaviors. Now, here's the thing I want you guys to kind of feel into is what is the difference between hoarding money or spending money to hoard stuff? And I want you just to reflect on that, because the truth is, it doesn't matter. Because hoarding is not the same thing as holding. Holding requires reverence for the thing. Hoarding means scarcity. If I don't get this, then things will happen to me. Again, mental, if this, then this. It's not true. Okay, because I've seen a couple people where all of a sudden they're spending a lot of money that they wouldn't ordinarily spend because now there's some freedom around their cash flow. But what happens is that it's still reactive. It is still a space of oh, well, now I can spend because I don't feel so constricted around it. But it's creating an opposite leak. I don't want you to have the pendulum swinging back and forth where all of a sudden you have abundance tomorrow and scarcity on Thursday, and abundance on Tuesday and scarcity by Friday. That's not of service to your life. There's a reason why bank does not do abundance or scarcity, because both of them are true to a certain extent. But what happens is when you don't acknowledge the truth in both, you take it for granted. Okay? If you're in scarcity today around your money, around your time, around your energy, that you need to build more so you go get coffee, that you need to get more clients because you don't know if you're going to pay your bills tomorrow, you need to cancel things so you have more time for other things, none of that is in reverence, right? All of that in particular is a scarcity thing, which dismisses that you will always get more clients, that you'll always have tomorrow, that it really doesn't matter if you build more energy, you already have energy. It just doesn't look the way that you want it to. Okay? So that's on the scarcity side. On the abundance side, it's also taking it for granted. It's, oh, I have all this money today. Okay, sure. And I'm going to get more money tomorrow. Okay, yeah, sure. And this dollar will not be here tomorrow. This hour, this minute, this energy you have today will not be here tomorrow. It'll be something different. It'll be a new dollar. It'll be a new hour. It'll be a different kind of energy that feeds through your body. If you don't revere how limited that actually is, about how sacred that actually is, you will constantly be in a cycle of scarcity, abundance, scarcity, abundance. And I don't want that for you, because to be in that feast or famine cycle is actually quite unsustainable, because it's not rooted, it's not embodied, it is all mental. I need you to be in your body and asking yourself, is this reverent or is this curative? Because curative means I don't have enough energy, I need to build more. Curative is I don't have enough money, I need to get more clients. Curative is I have all this money and now I get to blow it on whatever I want. Curative is that you don't like your current experience, you have zero approval for it, and therefore you don't approve or have reverent for the resources you already have. You already have the perfect amount of time. You already have the perfect amount of money. You already have the perfect amount of energy, but you don't like how it looks or how it feels. So then you do these curative things, which contorts that even further, which makes it feel like you don't have enough money. But yeah, you had enough money. You just spent it on 1,000 decks of tarot cards, or a new gym membership you don't use, or health supplements that are sitting on your counter, right? Like I do this too. It's still a practice for me. And so when you get into the practice, when you release the tension, when you release the need for compression, you might feel the need to like blow your load all over the place. This is where you have to ask again, is this in reverence? Because on the one side, we know compression isn't, right? We know compression isn't reverent, but forced ejaculation around your money, time, and energy isn't either. So we're about to go into the audit phase of bank. Okay. So what this is you're actually going to be looking at your calendars. You're actually going to be looking at your bank statements. Now, here's the other thing that I want to say. As you're going through your bank statements, if you are someone who receives cash revenue, and you spend in cash and you have no record of money in or money out, that is also a manifestation of your lack of reverence. Because you don't even know. You don't even know what's coming, what's going. So you have to journal on that and create some structures around where you will show your reverence to money, because at this point you don't have the reverence for it to even show up for you properly. It's gonna be like, oh, it'll show up whenever. It's not keeping track. So that's one thing. When we go into the money audit, print out your bank statements. And I'm talking PayPal, Apple, Venmo, Cash App, OnlyFans, if that's what you're running your money through, Patreon, Stripe, Shopify, your regular bank checkings and savings, your credit cards, all of that you need to print out. Because here's the other thing. If you're noticing, oh my God, I have 40 credit cards, this is going to be a place for you to look. Is that reverent to your life? And I'm not going to make the assumption that it is or isn't. And you have to actually come prepared to look at that. And I want to reemphasize that a lack of reverence isn't a terminal designation. You don't just die there. That's not the hill you die on. It goes, oh, I haven't been in reverence, so therefore now I get to actually see where I do get to be in reverence, right? For example, me and buying these stupid fucking supplements as a curative aid because I didn't like my state. Oh shit, that wasn't in reverence. Okay, I have a couple options. I can return them. I can actually commit to doing them. Or I can actually start committing to my health. And then by default, the supplements will be used. Okay? There's going to be the bigger thing that I commit to, not the if this, then that, not the curative to avoid. Hope that lands. I'm going to dive a little bit further into this as well, because it is quite a meaty, heavier topic, but I really want you to start questioning what you're spending, right? Like, question, is this in reverence? Just because it's within your expenditure range doesn't necessarily mean that that's actually for your life, right? Like, I can afford a pair of jeans, but do I really need another pair of jeans? No, I have way too many. I have way too many pairs of pants. But just because it's my expenditure range, I say yes? No. That when I have these jeans, I'm going to be cool? No. That when I lose this weight, I'll be happier? No. Anytime there's a curative purchase, it's not going to change your state. The only thing that changes your state is your actual devoted commitment to it. And the devoted commitment is always going to be a lot heavier because it's backed in truth. You either are or you're not. So you're either in reverence or you're not. So anyways, I'm just gonna leave that here for today. There's a lot more coming through and things that I want to show you guys and teach you guys. But really, like the prompt for today that I want you to sit with and really explore is, what are some curative purchases you've made in the last month? Okay, because you're going to have to look at that, being like, was this curative or was this in reverence? And if it's curative, I want you to dive into, what was it curing? Okay, this is going to be a little bit more of it might be emotional for some of you. It might bring up different, like it might bring up anger, it might bring up upset, it might bring up grief. Write about that. I want you to really share and dive into like, oh, this is a curative purchase I made. This is why I thought I made it. This is why I actually made it. And this is what I'm seeing within it. Okay. This isn't like a one sentence one off. Like, I really want you to explore to see what is actually being avoided in some of these purchases. What aren't you willing to look at? What are you avoid seeing? Because it's in that spot where we can actually find how we can be in reverence to our lives through that space. Okay. I love you, and I will talk to you next time. So again, the prompt is just to explore where you've actually made some curative purchases. Okay. I will chat with you later. Mwah.